great to see you. Great to meet you officially.
Nice to meet you.
The philosophy I built starting small around since episode 1 of our podcast is everyone starts small. That is the slogan, the tagline that I say. These brands and these founders that you hear from, they all started small. They started where our attendee is sitting. Whether the idea started in their parents' basement, kitchen, they started maybe in a shed. There's a face behind all of those brands. And it all started with one idea and someone who was smart enough and eager enough to execute that idea to make it work. They give up everything they can to start small, to have an opportunity to be a product that you use as a customer. And it all starts small.
Probably the biggest myth about the American dream is that it's gone. I hear that all the time. People are saying, oh, it's just not as much opportunity as when you were growing up. There's just not a chance for me today. The deck is stacked against me. There's this victimhood mentality that's out there, and it's crazy because there is more opportunity today than there ever has been in the history of mankind. That represents an even bigger opportunity for the entrepreneur because the playing field is littered with people who don't believe. So if you believe, you can chase your dream.
There are some people who are born leaders, but you can become a leader over time. So this is something that you may feel or you may doubt yourself because you're young and like, hey, do I have what it takes to be a leader? You can learn to be a leader. Be reassured that you can learn this. It is not impossible and you can get there.
I'm super excited about this year's Starting Small Summit. The panel we have coming in is incredible. They all resemble the philosophy behind starting small. And I get asked sometimes, what do I look for in the panel I select for the Starting Small Summit? I'm looking for a story that resembles where did they come from, where did they grow up, what was that upbringing like, and then what was their journey to get to what they started today. And that really resonates well with our attendees who will be here for the Starting Small Summit, and getting to share a glimpse of that. The brands that we know, consume, and have seen before have also sat where the student is sitting, whether that's with no running water or no parents or completely immigrated from another country. That's some of the things that these brands have done.
Make sure that you are passionate about what is it that you're solving for, because that's what's going to carry you through during the hard time, right? When the hard time happens, the ones that were just there for the success will leave you and left you with the problems. But you want that passion to carry you through on the other side of the hardship. You know, I kind of developed this principle that says, until I have $0 in the bank account, like I'm literally like run completely out of money, I'm gonna keep going. And so someone's gonna have to drag me out of this place because I just won't quit. It's a bit of a philosophy that helped me reinforce. You know, about 15 years ago, I started to do Ironman training and racing. And Ironman has this no quit, nothing is impossible mentality. And that's really helped me reinforce that resilience that's required to be an entrepreneur.
There's a lot of logistics going on, a lot of busyness going on, but I'm really excited. It's our 4th year this year, the Starting Small Summit. The night prior is where like everything kind of builds up. The fear is kind of like the day before, the night prior. And it slowly fades away and you're just in go time and you have no time for, honestly, fear. So I'm super excited.
Pressures are usually a function of change. Something changes and pressure results. The market could collapse and all of a sudden now you've got shareholder pressure. You could have an employee, a key employee quit, and now you've got personnel pressure. There are all kinds of issues that can arise. Almost 99% of them arise from something changing. And I think the key is we can have one of two reactions to that change. We can let that change affect us and react to it in a negative sense, or we can get inside of that change and see it as an opportunity. Whatever the situation, a market collapse, opportunity. How are my competitors going to react? They're in the same market. If they zig, perhaps I can zag. If they freeze, I can move forward. So there's always an opportunity in every change. The challenge is to keep your head up, not to react negatively, but to find the positive opportunity in that change and capitalize on it.
And something with these speakers, it's really incredible because Suze, she's one of the best operators I know in the direct-to-consumer space. So those who don't know direct-to-consumer, D2C, that's your brands like Harry's, which Suze was a part of the team who grew. Her brand, Pattern Brands, owns direct-to-consumer brands underneath their portfolio. She knows so much about acquiring companies, and what's funny is she didn't know how to acquire companies prior. She looked up how do you acquire a business, and she shared that today at the summit. And today, here she is, knows so much about the legalities behind it, the operations that goes into that, what does the exit plan look like for that founder. It's really incredible to see someone who was not in this field before become one of the best in that field after just starting and learning along the way.
So in Australia, I actually worked for a digital agency where, we became known for doing a lot of e-com and app builds. And then from there, I said, well, where do I want to go that's the biggest in the world at this? And that was the US. And so I sent, it's got to have been well over 1,000 emails before I left. I was like, hi, I'm Suze, I'm moving to America, it's going to be wonderful. And most people ignored me. I got a bunch of people just saying basically, go away, leave me alone. But there was one Aussie girl in New York that actually said, sure, I'll take a coffee with you. And so I hopped on a plane, packed everything up. I came to New York 13 years ago, and then I never left. I always say, the first thing is just start. So stop overthinking it, stop pausing, just actually get going, because you're not going to know until you're in it. So just put one foot forward in front of another. But I also think, I wish someone had told me that it was more than the idea. I think a lot of the time I thought it was going to be have an amazing idea, have an amazing vision, and that some of the other things would fall into place. An idea is just an idea. If you cannot execute, if you cannot take the time to, measure 100 times, cut once in that first product that you're creating when it's a physical product, you don't have a business.
You have to put in a lot of work. You have to really be very passionate about what you do. You have to be in a situation where you don't take no for an answer. These are what's going to make you successful as an entrepreneur, and everybody has to learn those rules. I think what I hear from a lot of Gen Zs, they talk about work-life balance, I'm not going to be a slave to my work. I want to be living a much more balanced life. I would say probably if you want to be successful in anything you do, you probably have to have the mindset that between the age of 25 and 45, you're going to have no work-life balance.
It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, it doesn't matter how much skill you have, there are going to be times when you're tested. And your ability to get back inside of yourself and pause for a second and realize that I can get through this. That's a very, very important trait for anybody, especially an entrepreneur.
The story I love to share is someone who attended the summit. She worked for a large organization nearby, and she always wanted to start her consulting firm, but she did not have the courage to take that first step forward. And after she attended one of our summits, she let me know the following year that she started that consulting firm in small business, and now she's consulting for some of the biggest area businesses. So watching students get inspired, kickstart their careers, and also business leaders launching their entrepreneurial journeys out of the summit is really encouraging.
When you're starting out, you want to say yes to everything because you think that you're not going to have that opportunity again. I know I felt almost panicked at the thought of saying no to anything because what if it doesn't happen? What if I've missed my shot? But what I've realized over the years is actually it's so important to say no, because that protects your ability to say yes to the things that can actually move the needle. And you need to sit with yourself and really be honest with yourself of saying, am I just doing a bunch of things that are moving this in tiny little increments? And what can I stop doing to try and make some big leaps forward?
Find a way to differentiate yourself. Each of us is a brand. And just like a product on the shelf, you have to differentiate that brand. What's much more important, though, than the external packaging of our brand, what's inside. Integrity, humility, gratitude, confidence, all of those things that represent our character also represent our brand. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, a corporate entrepreneur, or just an individual who wants to do better in life. Recognize that brand matters, and every single day work to improve the quality of your brand offering.
You know, I carry a little picture on my phone of an iceberg, and it's kind of a iconography to like, this is what people see, and this is what people don't see. So people see like the success, the stories, you know, how big the company have been, you know, the name brand that now everybody sort of recognize. What they don't see is the sweat and tears and the long night and the stressful moment, constant dedication, the resilience, the time management, the discipline, just to keep at it all the time. There's a saying that says, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan, right? Company dies very quietly, nobody ever hear of them. But the successful one, they get put on the pedestal and in front of everybody. So you do hear about my success, you never hear about the company that I was involved with and it failed. With every single of the 3 companies, there's been moments where I was challenged and felt like, this is it, this is a moment where we go under. And we never did, we always find a way to pull through. I think that resilience was key in those moments.
Sometimes you have to force yourself to be uncomfortable. Like, one of my favorite things that I remind myself of is, change is scary, but change is growth. And so whenever I'm kind of scared going into something, I'm like, change is scary, but change is growth. And I always just say to myself, choose growth.
I feel great. The speakers had a good time, the attendees had a good time, and the conversations we had, I think, really made an impact on the attendees here today, reminding everyone that these speakers started small. They did such a great job at telling the story behind how they grew up, different things they had to overcome, and how they got to the point that they are today. And it's those things that made this event such a highlight of my day, the speakers, and the attendees.